Hey, welcome back to part 2 of John McAfee here on the Utterly Unrelated podcast. I hope you enjoyed last time. It's gonna get worse.
It's gonna get weird.
It's gonna get weird. Yeah, it's not gonna get worse. It's gonna get weird.
Oh my god. So, okay. I'm happy to be done with it. I mean, for sure. There's just too much. It's like, Christmas Day or Valentine's or Halloween or a Tuesday, anytime that there's too much candy and sweets and like just too much stimulation.
Mm-hmm.
That was researching this. Like everything that normally on its own, I would be like, oh, what the fuck is that? Like just a bombardment of so many. This thing is so fucking wild. This guy is such a fucking crazy creep. I can't even.
You're gonna be so glad to have your life back.
Yeah, but he's still, like, okay, just how in the first episode he was talking about, like, his dad and how his dad lives in his head and any mistrust he is the negotiator of that mistrust. Okay, John McAfee now lives in my head rent-free.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's good and it's bad. Like, if I'm about to, like, lose my shit, I'll just think, what would John McAfee do? And then I do the opposite.
Oh, thank God you said opposite. I was like, oh, no, people are going to get shot.
And then I do that. I have gotten all my tattoos covered up with tribal. I now exclusively...
You only poop outside in people's mouths.
Yes. No, I am the one who gets the poop. I haven't eaten solid food in days. Just... pre-digested.
Oh no.
Nah, that part's not true.
We need to have an intervention.
Poopervention.
I need to save you from yourself.
Nobody ever. That was actually kind of one of the issues with John McAfee is nobody ever saved him from himself.
That's the problem with not having with being surrounded by yes men.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're surrounded by yes men, no one's ever going to tell you when you've crossed the line.
Yeah, well, because, and that actually is kind of one of the more tragic aspects of John McAfee is that he was sheerly surrounded by people who were paid to be around him.
That's a fucking bummer.
Yeah, he was the boss of everybody he hung out with. And I mean, I understand having, like, working relationships and things like that, but just, I mean, that must have been kind of lonely and isolating. He didn't have any contemporaries around him.
There's this guy, Jonathan Colton. He's a musician. And he was real big, like, no offense, Jonathan Colton, if you're listening, which you're not. He was real big, like, 10, 15 years ago. Like, the comedy music that he did was like real big. Burnham. Yeah, like Bo Burnham style stuff. But he wrote this song called Tom Cruise Crazy. And it's like, if you had Tom Cruise's troubles, you might be Tom Cruise crazy too. And it's talking about how he lives alone and he can't trust anybody to be his real friend because he's Tom Cruise. I know, and for a minute I was like so sad, and then I remembered, wait, no, Tom Cruise is a piece of shit. He's a brainwashed piece of shit who just habitually ruins people's lives. And so thank you, Scientology. But I feel like, yeah, John McAfee is John McAfee crazy for the same reason. Like,
yes,
just nobody to tell him no, nobody to say you went too far.
And it seems as though anytime anybody, and by anybody I mean any government, has told him, no, you can't do that. You can't smoke a joint at the Capitol building. You can't do all of these things that are illegal for everybody blanketly. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
He gets real libertarian.
And, libertarians are fine because I don't really know any. And so I haven't had
They're a pain in the ass. I know several.
I haven't had any one-on-one interactions, but I feel like they're the agnostics of the political climate, and, like, that just seems really insufferable. And John McAfee is very insufferable anyway.
Yeah, so John McAfee, I don't think that he was a true libertarian. I think that a lot of his fuck you, I do what I want aligned itself cleverly with certain aspects of libertarianism.
Yeah.
I think it was convenient for him, because so what I'm getting at is he ran as a libertarian while he was on the run in international waters is where he was running his campaign from.
Because we're picking up right now where he has left Belize.
I actually jumped ahead several years when I said that. Just
because
okay. I couldn't get it out of my head. Just all of after Belize, it got weird. It was weird before. It got weird after.
So when we last were here, he had questionably had his neighbor possibly perchance murdered, possibly not, after his neighbor
killed him.
Yeah, someone killed his neighbor, maybe him, maybe not, after someone killed all the dogs on John McAfee's property.
I think it was his girlfriend who did it, because his girlfriend seemed in the interview in the Showtime documentary, she seemed very much like, yes, he's dead.
The neighbor guy?
Yeah. Oops. Yeah, she seemed to really be like, yeah, fuck that guy, he killed my dog.
So now we have left Belize.
So they were getting him on tax evasion, which is kind of like the, throw it up against the wall and see if it sticks. But at that point, he was very vocal about, I haven't paid taxes in like 8 years. So
yeah, he was real.
Here's the thing: is John McAfee in his entire life, if John McAfee had just kept his fucking mouth shut, I mean, honestly, 30% more than he did, which was 0%. He kept his mouth shut 0% of the fucking time.
Yeah.
If he had kept his mouth shut about even 30% of the shit he was doing, he would be fine now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, debatably. But, like, he liked to stir up his own shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, from about here on, this is when it becomes a fucking sideshow, as though it weren't before. This is where it really gets off the fucking rails.
And this is where timelines are fractured. It's murky. Yeah. The order of things is murky, and so
it's a big soup of crazy. So
that he stirs with his gross toenails.
And the soup is made of dookie.
So I like your pre-digested term.
Yeah, it's pre-digest. Yeah, that's the technical term. It's just pre-digested is all. So yeah, he's off the rails. So I'm just gonna give the very bones of it, and then I'm just gonna step in with all of the crazy. So okay,
we talked about it. I think it's the only way.
It's the only way to do it, because it's otherwise I'll just be hopping around all day of like, oh wait, and then no, and then before that, and so to save everybody, I'm just gonna do this, and then I'm going to tell crazy off the wall stories about him.
Poor Megan, I stuffed her full of Guamanian
I am
food.
so fucking full. It was delicious, but like
I made her a feast, and I was like, eat this, now let's go work.
Eat this, now use brain. Yeah, it's, oh my god, and it's not working. It's so fucking good.
So we're just gonna be a little more relaxed about it, and I'm so happy that you enjoyed my food, honestly.
Oh my god, it was delicious.
Happy. I love sharing my heritage food.
So fucking good.
And I'm excited to learn my heritage language, which if you're Guamanian like me, but you don't speak Chamorro, you can go to the University of Guam website and you can learn Chamorro for free. Like how if you're Jewish, you get to go on like a heritage trip to Israel for free that's sponsored by like, the people in your community, which is a thing.
I didn't know that. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, my friend Rachel went on that and she was like, it was the best thing ever. It was so cool. I'm like, damn, I want to go on a heritage trip, but I mean, I get to learn my heritage language for free.
Have you ever been to Guam?
I have. Yeah, I was there. I lived there briefly, and I mean very briefly. I experienced all that Guam had to offer, which was brown snakes, typhoons, 80% humidity, people who hated me because my skin was too light, and weird sea slugs in the ocean. And I was like, I can't do this. I need to go back to the mainland. I cannot fucking live here. I love my family. I love the ocean. I fucking hate the sun. I hate the heat. I burn so bad. I cannot function. And in a weird twist of fate, there was a girl that I had gone to school with in 6th grade, and her dad lived on Guam. And so, like, we were able to hook up and hang out while we were there, which was like small world. It was crazy. But her and my cousin Desiree were literally my only friends. And
Aw.
I couldn't go to Desiree and be like, this place is fucking horrible. Because she had lived there her whole life. And she was like, what are you talking about? This is my island. I'm like, I want to go home. And then I went home.
Oh, that's sad.
It was really sad. I couldn't hack it, man. Like, I'm a city girl. I am not an island girl at all. And I'm going to take the boys, you know, when they're old enough, and we're all going to go to Guam. And I told Dave,
I think DJ's gonna fucking hate it.
he's going to hate it. There's like, I don't know, when I was there was not even reliable TV. He's going to hate not having the internet.
It's an island made of all of his deepest fears.
It is. Snakes, sharks,
He doesn't know he's scared of sea slugs yet.
Not yet.
Because he doesn't know they exist. But once he does, I'm sure. Because you know, honestly, I was like, I can deal with all that. But then once you said sea slugs, I was like, nope.
Yeah. I remember my cousin and I, we got like this plastic oar that you use with like a rescue raft or something. And we had this sea slug and we were trying to hack it in half just to figure out like what was inside. That fucking thing would not die. I feel bad now, you know, I was a kid, but like, yeah. Oh yeah. And like DJ's a vegetarian.
He's gonna fucking hate it.
He's gonna hate it. It's nothing but meat there. But I'm gonna take the boys and I'm gonna be like, and now we can go to your father's homeland. And then you can tell me which one you like better.
And they're gonna resoundingly say Canada.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say Russia, but yeah, like,
oh,
we'll take you on a heritage trip to Russia. Well, tell me what you think, and they'll be like, ooh, DJ will like it because they'll have potatoes, more potatoes. I think Wolfie's a Guamanian, 100%. He's got the little tree climbing toes, which are adorable, and he can like use them to pick things up. And he loves the sand. He loves the heat. He loves it all. He's gonna be so happy.
Oh, that's gonna be so
adorable.
sweet.
And I have to learn Chamorro so I can like impress my grandma before she dies and say something to her in Chamorro. But
other than the two words you know.
Yeah, other than the two words I know, which are hello and then a bad word. So.
I suppose if you get sidetracked and you forget to learn Guamanian on her deathbed, you could
I'll just say the bad word. Be like, Grandma, listen. And then I'll say, hello, bad word.
She'll probably die proud.
Yeah, she will. So yeah, you'll have to forgive us if we're a little more easy listening today than normal, because
man.
I did the Guamanian thing and I stuffed her full of food.
So good.
And then I set her up to fail by going, okay, now that you're sleepy, let's talk.
Lots of rice and spam, so good.
So much spam. Oh, yum, 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 yum.
April 2012 is where he kind of got the idea that he should start being more in the eye of the media. In the sense of, so that's when he really started leaning into the whole, the Belizean government is out to get me. They're trying to kill me because I didn't give $2 million to this dude. And so he really starts leaning into that. That's the same time that his neighbor's murdered. Okay. So he alleged that his neighbor was murdered because they thought that his neighbor was him, which is unlikely. It is far more likely that somebody would mistake me for Aaron's husband Dave than somebody would mistake McAfee for his neighbor. Like, yeah. I mean, they're both white.
Yeah. And they're
that's
both...
where the... Oh, and they're both male.
They're both... Yeah.
That's
it.
Where the similarities are. They both maybe have money.
But you know, what an interesting narcissistic way to make that guy's death all about him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and he absolutely did that. And then so the GSU, the Gang Suppression Unit, is who, that's who had raided his compound, right? In Orange Walk.
Because he had basically made this insane
oh my God,
gang.
Right? Yeah. That's exactly it. He had, through being a quote unquote good dude, he had made it so he kind of bought the loyalty of the entire town.
He inadvertently became El Chapo.
Yes. actually. Kind of, and very like El Chapo mixed with like Colonel Kurtz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, yes.
Very curtsy.
Yes. Where he had his own army, kind of. And so the GSU, they went in and he couldn't buy them. And he didn't fucking like that. And so they shot like his one remaining dog, which is fucked up and sad.
Fucked up.
And he alleges they left him in the sun for like 14 hours in direct sunlight, which no. If you leave, just blanket, if you leave a almost 70-year-old man, regardless of how good or bad health he's in direct sunlight for 14 hours, you're gonna have to move him because you're gonna be hard pressed to find somewhere that's direct sunlight for all 14 fucking hours.
Very true.
Right. Beyond that, he said that he was a little pink or like starting to burn. I was like, I know that his skin is made of like tough Nalgahide, but regardless, it would have been coming off in sheets. Yeah. And I know this because I just got a sunburn. I understand it's the winter time.
Yeah. Oh, it was a tough December for your back.
It was a tough December for my life. Yeah, I'm still peeling. I'm still.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, now when I take my clothes off, it looks like my whole body has dandruff.
Oh shit!
My skin peeled, and underneath it was flaky dandruff skin.
Oh, it's that damaged.
Yeah,
that's a lot of layers of sad.
For your worst. Skin. So if that happened to me out of like 10 minutes in a tanning booth, I'm very sure John McAfee's skin would have been coming off in strips.
Oh yeah, he would have been blistered. He would have been.
Yeah, and the people, the people of the GSU had said that they had gone in and like cuffed him and all his compound homies. And they put him under a shaded tree, which I find more believable than direct sunlight for 14 hours.
Yeah.
If you can show me a place with direct sunlight
for
14 fucking hours, then I will give you a high five.
That's it. No, I think Alaska has sun for 24 hours in the winter, but not direct sun.
Not in April.
Or not winter. Whatever. I don't know anything about that, but I feel like, there might be a place in the world where you have sunlight for 24 hours, but not direct.
And not in Belize.
Not in Belize.
So
I don't Belize him.
I like that. So the GSU, after all of this, was like, oh, our bad. We thought you were manufacturing drugs. And, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
So the chemist that was under his employ, who he very fucking likely raped, had said that all of her research was in the very early stages anyway. Yeah. And so when there was a photo shoot, he just had her put like colored water in glass and be like, oh.
And he had hired a chemist to find a way to make this special natural antibiotic, which we talked about last time, right?
That was like already her thing, and she had told him about it. But it was in the research phases. She had told him about the possibility of it, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll buy you a fucking lab."
That's right. You do it. You do the thing.
Right now, my hot take that I feel is fairly supported by evidence, but not like nobody has come out and said this thing. Is that he was also having her manufacture the drugs that he was enjoying.
Yes.
And possibly when he was in Belize, he was just like doing mass distribution or attempting to of said drug.
Makes way more sense.
Right.
Oh, I've got a lab.
Other than I will be a benevolent old man and buy you a lab. Like that's, you know, I don't see him doing anything that he's not directly profiting from in one way or another.
Yeah.
And so they had gotten him on, or they were attempting to get him on like drug charges, things like that. And when they had tested the chemical makeup of the stuff that they were doing in the lab, none of it matched closely to known drugs. And so they were like, oh, our bad, bye. He only had, I think only one of the guns was unregistered. Like where given how many guns he has, that's
pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
He had a lot of guns.
Yeah, it's a lot of fucking guns. And so, moving on, that probably was what it was. He was released without charge. the police spokesman even came out and said that he was neither convicted nor charged, only suspected. So we're going to move ahead a couple years to 2014. He had moved to Canada at that point, and he predictably, his Orange Walk compound burnt down. He had tried to kind of distance himself. So it's, as we had talked about before, it's one failed scheme, and then he jumps to another, and then another, and sometimes it's more like his scheme didn't get to go to fruition because the consequences of his last scheme kind of bit him in the ass. And I kind of think that sometimes it's just like it gets too hot, or he gets burnt out or something. He's like, bam, on to the next thing. And so he said that they had taken like, I don't know, like $500,000 worth of his stuff and ruined it and all this stuff. And like, he was still on that whole rant though. Like that was kind of the beginning of the shtick that he rode until he died. Of the government's trying to get me. Whether it's this government, that government, the government from this point on is always out to get him. So this is why I say that, like, from this point on, it's extremely difficult to not only to timeline things, but to tell what is real and what is bullshit.
Oh, because
it's I feel like I have just been fucking gaslit for the last like 3 weeks while researching this. I know that sounds bad, but like, because when you look at articles and even hear like him speaking about things, even then it's kind of like, well, how much of this is stuff that he's feeding into it and how much of it is actually true? So this is where a lot of the actually true stuff gets very small.
Okay.
So from here on, here's just the actual true things, and then I'm gonna go through and fill everything else in. So, he was arrested in Tennessee in 2015, where he was living with his wife, and that was just like a DUI, and I think he had a firearm with him. And then he...
Oh, is that the video they had with the dash cam? Where
yeah.
Like,
do you know who I am? And the dude was just like, yeah, and actually that is. So when John McAfee had been so used to being such a big deal for so long wherever he went, and such a recognizable figure, which is why he eventually had to just go back to America, because he was in relative obscurity there. And so he... on the dash cam footage, that he's trying to be like, do you know who I am? And the cop is just like, don't know, don't care. And he's like, McAfee antivirus, yeah, I invented that. And the cop is like, cool. Anyway, you're obviously fucked up. So,
he's like, I need my stack of papers from the back seat. I need my papers. I need my papers. Don't take me to jail without my papers. Yeah, it was real weird.
Yeah. And he had obviously started drinking again. And he, even while he, toward the beginning of him starting drinking again, even while he was drinking, he was still claiming sobriety. Like, drink in hand. Eventually, he finally gave that up. Like, gave up the,
Dude, you're clearly wet-brained from too many drugs. And you're fucking loaded.
You're drinking whiskey currently. He was very fucking Leahy. From this point on, it's just Jim Leahy, but with too much money and no Bo Bandy. So he's off the fucking rails.
You need a Randy to get you through.
He had no Randy.
Oh, that's really sad.
I mean, like even in an interview with... oh god, it was a low stakes one, like I can't remember it right now. His wife would not admit that she loved him.
Really?
Yeah! He was like, I think she has a certain affinity toward me, and she was like, I mean, I don't know about all that. Like, that's not a direct quote, but that's yeah.
Oh, that's
real
sad. He doesn't have a Barb or a Bo Bandy.
Yeah, he is off the rails Leahy right now. Man. The shitbirds are running the shit show now. So, oh my god. So, one of his best / yeah, that tracks moments, and actually one of his most recent shenanigans before death was he, and this is actually classic, like what we're dealing with. He had fed a false story about him getting arrested in Norway during the pandemic of I think it's August in 2020, for refusing to wear a mask. Like, he was wearing a lace thong over his face. Now, keep in mind, this story is false. He fed that story to, like, multiple news sites.
Why would you do that?
He was not arrested in Norway. He wasn't even in fucking Norway at the time.
What the hell? What the hell?
So, I'm just telling, that's, yes.
Madness.
That is what we're dealing with this guy.
Oh.
So, I don't, yeah. So, with his death, I'm just gonna jump to that. So he died, June 23rd, 2021. He was found dead in his prison cell.
I had no idea.
Near Barcelona.
It was like
so
not,
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Near Barcelona.
Yeah.
Oh.
In Spain. And so he was there in fucking, it was the whole tax evasion thing again. Wow. Yeah. He loved tax evasion.
He loved peanut butter jelly sandwiches and tax evasion.
Yeah. And sex workers.
And sex workers. Poop. So much poop.
And he also, you know what? He loved forgiving people. He loved to live, laugh, and love.
Oh, he lived by live, laugh, love.
He did.
Oh, he did. You know what? Maybe telling the media that he was wearing a thong instead of a mask.
He was trying to make us all laugh because of his love.
His love for life.
He's
you know,
an asshole.
I kind of wonder. No.
If he's still live, laugh, loving.
Yeah. I wonder, like, what does live, laugh, love look like now?
It looks like John McAfee.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know, because laugh, if he's a ghost, you know he's fucking with people. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, and that's the fuck of it. So just given just the false, he loved fucking with people in general. And so that's the thing, is like anything that he does, I have to wonder, like, was this a bit?
See?
Is he an Andy Kaufman-esque? Yeah. So other than the rape, fuck him for that.
Yeah.
You know, that's always been like, once he starts to get likable, I'm always like, oh wait, but yeah, he's a fucking rapist. And then I go back to like, oh yeah, fuck that guy. That's right. He's a real piece of shit.
Well, and he raped the woman who he was employing as a chemist because she said she wanted to go home. She didn't want to be there anymore. And he was like, oh, cool. Here, let's have a goodbye drink. And he spiked it, right?
It was worse even. She, so they had worked together for, I think, like a couple years by this point. And she had seen him slowly going off the rails and losing his fucking mind.
Yeah.
And she had her doubts in the beginning, and she only got more doubty until then. And she was just really not very comfortable with the vibe of what was going on.
Machine guns. And
yeah, just the whole thing, man. And so she had, like, formulated a plan in her head. She knew he was volatile, and she was like, hey, so I'd like you to buy me out. More or less, like, I need to fucking go. You're a crazy person. You're going to get me killed. She didn't say that, but that was the spirit behind it for sure.
Yeah.
She was leaving out of self-preservation because shit was getting bad.
She was really worried and really scared.
Yeah. And so she went to him and was, more or less like, hey, I'd like you to buy me out. And he was like, oh, I don't know. And started talking. I think that I don't remember where the conversation went from there, because she had said that said that she had a headache to him, and he went and he got like a couple of pills and some orange juice, and she took it, and she noted that the orange juice tasted kind of shitty and bitter. But you know, okay, yeah, the guy's a shitbag, but like, you're not gonna expect him to drug and rape you. Like, that's not really even his MO. If it was, like, okay, you know, obviously I wouldn't probably accept a drink from, like, Bill Cosby, but in the 70s, who fucking knows? You know what I mean?
Exactly. She didn't suspect that was something that she was like, oh, he'll kill me.
Yeah.
He's not gonna
like,
drug
it
me.
seemed like after it happened, she was like, why the fuck did I trust him? But then, like, you know, in the heart of it, like, she didn't fucking think he was gonna do this. And even if she did, she doesn't fucking deserve, you know.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
And so she
just
said,
wanted to go home.
exactly. She said that she woke up and she was naked and she saw McAfee over her also naked. And she, like, when she woke up that she was, you know, bruised and bloodied and stuff like that. And then, you know, after that point, she definitely was like, hey, I want to fucking go home. And he flipped out and
did you think raping me was gonna make me want to stay? Oh shit, I'm in love with your dick. Like, what the hell kind of move was that?
Well, exactly. Like it's yeah. So he, you know, he's a real shitbag there, and she ended up luckily being able to get an email out to her dad. She had made some friends in the area, in the village, and they hid her until she could get out. Thank God. So that's the elephant in the room of him being a fucking rapist.
Yeah, that's what we keep referring to.
Yeah, so. It's fucked up.
It is horrible.
And her story was very, very sincere. You can watch it on the Showtime documentary Gringo. She was very sincere with all of it. But yeah, so he's a fucking rapist. So anytime that you start liking him, just remember, he's a fucking rapist.
Yeah. And it seems like not necessarily for sexual pleasure.
No, that was dominance.
Yeah, that was dominance.
That was like brain games. Like, and
that's like Carl Panzram type move.
Yes. And here's the worst part about all of that is, so the Showtime documentary, it went through, it interviewed people, it paid them for footage. A lot of the people who were interviewed for the Showtime documentary that both of us have seen, called Gringo, had later on the most credible of sources, John McAfee's YouTube page, he had paid them presumably more to discredit their own stories. But here's the thing. So when you're watching their stories on the Showtime documentary, like, most of them, it does seem sincere. They're just recalling things. The way that their faces move and the things that they do with their faces makes me believe that they were recalling instead of fabricating.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It seemed very genuine.
Yes. Then on the YouTube page that he had, it was people lying. Like, my 3-year-old can lie better. And just the demeanor changes, all of this. And so, and then they later admitted that they had lied again. So it was just a whole fucking thing. But he had tried to pay people to discredit her. And there was this one kid, this one guy who, in one of the quote-unquote interviews, the John McAfee paid interview, he was saying, yeah, like, why are you saying these things about John? You know, he was more or less trying to call her, like, a loose woman, like, that they had already slept together, and trying to do that whole, yeah. So,
fuckers.
Yeah, fuck all that. Anyway, yeah, he, not only is he a rapist, he worked very hard to gaslight and discredit his victim. Yeah, so once again, anytime that anyone tries to like this guy, which, don't get me wrong, he's easy to like in a very anti-hero sense, but then it's like, oh wait, rapist.
Yeah, I can't get past it.
Neither can I. Fuck that guy. So, the more pleasurable part, he fucking got Epstein. There's no two ways. So he was very outspoken most of the time. Like, he even got a stupid tattoo on his arm that, when he was in Spanish prison, that said whacked, but it had, like, a $sign in front of it, so it looked more like it said swacked. Like, sealed with a kiss.
Oh, fuck.
I know, how sweet. And so, when he was in Spanish prison, he was tweeting, like, a Donald Trump amount.
He was tweeting from prison?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was more or less saying, like, hey, you know, the accommodations here are comfortable, the food's good, the people are nice, I'm having a good time. It's, you know, I've been less comfortable living in my own house with my mother-in-law visiting, like, stuff like that. More or less trying to it was as though, because you know how John McAfee likes to stack the cards.
Yes.
It was as though he was building up to something like this.
Yeah.
He was pleading a case that he was happy, he was fine, and then he started in with the whole, like, so if anyone says I suicided myself, I didn't. And, you know, then he ends up dead, but the way... I think he was trying to ride the wake of Epstein.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how fucked up is that? But probably.
My hot take is all of the drugs and all of the fuckery he had done had taken such a huge toll on his body.
Yeah.
That maybe there was some shit going on. Maybe he got a prostate cancer diagnosis and was like, I'm gonna get weird with it. Because he's John McAfee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Joe Exotic, he's got prostate cancer.
Oh, I didn't. Why am I owing him? Yeah. See, that's another.
I know.
Where it's like, oh, and then like, oh, wait, he's a piece of shit.
And yes, maybe he wasn't serious about killing Carol Baskins. But
I don't
he's
even
still
care about the
shit.
Carol Baskins
I
stuff
don't either.
because she also is kind of a shitty person.
He hurt the animals.
That's my qualm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe that he acted for the most part in the interest of the animals.
No.
I think that as far as treating the animals well, Carol Baskin probably does treat the animals far better than Joe Exotic.
Yeah. And he treated his men like he treated his animals, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He show ponied him around. He pumped him full of drugs. Like, he's
Yeah, that is fucked up. You know what? I hope that boyfriend of his is doing well. The one who didn't have teeth. And yes!
He's so... Yeah.
He's handsome.
He is handsome. And he's like, you know, I'm not gay. That guy just had a lot of money and drugs.
Right.
And like, whatever. But he's married to a woman now. And he has a child.
Oh, I bet that he's a good dad.
I bet he is too. He
He
seems
just
like
seemed
fun.
nice.
He seemed really nice, and he got all the meth out of his system. It seems like he did all the
good
meth,
for him.
you know,
Good
and like,
for him.
yeah.
He just seemed very nice and very sincere. Out of everyone, there was only like maybe 3 or 4 people who I was like, you know what, that person actually is just a good person that got mixed in with all this shit.
Yeah, like that guy Eric who took care of the guy with the long blonde hair.
Yes.
He died.
No.
He died of alcohol-related disease, I think.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it was really sad because he seemed like one of the good guys.
Yeah, he did. Just a real cool dude.
He did seem like a cool dude. I watched that Ghost Adventure special where Zach Bagans took his crew to Joe Exotic's old Wynnewood zoo and did some ghost hunting. They found some things that were problematic, but not necessarily.
But it was just Florida problematic.
It was quite a bit Florida problematic. But there was one EVP that I was like, oh shit, dude, that's his boyfriend who killed himself or his husband or whatever. Because they're in his trailer or they were somewhere and they were like, Travis, are you here with us? And you just hear this guy like, what's up? And I was like, oh shit, that's probably him. Because, you know, like if it's a ghost, like, it's me, it's Dylan or whatever, you're like, oh, that's not really how you talk.
It's a little on the nose.
Yeah, but because he was like, what's up? I was like, oh shit, that might actually be him.
He did just seem like an ultimate bro. And it wasn't like he killed himself in a grand gesture. He was just being a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he was like, I'm high as shit, I got a gun.
Yeah, I bet this won't kill me, fucking idiot.
And I'm
if he was
young
good at up close magic like John McAfee was, then maybe.
See, and I feel like that exact
thing.
So there's just this type of guy that's I'm sorry.
It's the weird flex bro guys.
It's totally 100%. You've nailed it. It's weird. And Caravaggio is actually one of those guys. And so we're going to get it. We're having a flex bro month.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yes.
We are because I was wondering what I was going to do for my next episode. So yeah. We're just going to do Weird Flex Bro month.
I like
Fuck
it.
yes. Weird Flex January. Some people are like, I'm going to go to the gym and flex my muscles. We're like, we're just going to make stories about weird flexes.
Yes.
Oh, I do have a correction to make. So you remember before when I told you about the guy who pulled his tooth out.
Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't in Belize. That was in Tennessee. That was some good old-fashioned, wispy, white hair, good old boy.
That actually makes a lot more sense.
I know, doesn't it, though?
Yeah.
So here's the one thing that doesn't make sense to me, though, is when, and this is probably just the writer not knowing the difference between a wrench and pliers. But in the article I had read in Men's Journal, it had said that this guy of the last name of Poole he was head of security when they were living in Tennessee. So I don't like 2018-ish, 2017-ish. And he had come back in with like he went out, pulled his own tooth, came back in, told the guy that he had asked one of the construction guys for a wrench. Now, the only way one could knock their own tooth out with a wrench is like ding, 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 ding. Like,
yeah.
and that.
Or like a smash situation.
Yeah, and even then, that would have just taken the top part off, and then you're left with the bottom. It's like changing a light bulb with a hammer.
Yeah.
So that's my only qualm, is that the dude is so dumb that he doesn't know the difference between the two. Or maybe he just has a false tooth.
That's far more likely. I have a friend who did that.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was like, oh, fuck.
Okay.
And you're like, oh my God. He's like, it's part of my partial.
You
I'm
know
like,
what?
Oh.
Honestly, like, it's a lot closer to, like, a fucking sideshow, his entourage at times. And so that would make sense to me, that he just has a bunch of withered ass old teeth that he just can pull out easily,
willy-nilly. Yeah.
Or that are just like he's got a cavity, like a not cavity like where his teeth were rotten as fuck, like not that, but like an ulcer in the top of his mouth. I don't know if that's a grosser way to put it, where he can just like put stuff up there and take it out at will. I don't know. Anything is possible with these motherfuckers.
So how did he die?
He died allegedly by hanging. So, and here is actually the weird thing about that. He was a relatively big dude.
I mean, he seemed like it.
Anyone over 5'5", I'm like, he was a big dude.
Yeah.
So he was over 5'5" for sure. The way that he had hung himself, it would have been Epstein difficult to kill himself, if not more so, because the body's reflexes would have kicked in at some point.
Yeah.
And saved him. So, and I mean, if you are going to kill somebody, it is easiest to do that, to just strangle him and make it look like that. All the same though, John McAfee, I 100% believe would kill himself as a final weird flex.
Yeah, I do too.
Like, there's no doubt. In this instance, the Occam's razor explanation is that John McAfee went to great lengths.
Yeah, he did. He really did. I mean, is it a possibility that he died jerking off, autoerotic asphyxiation with his own fingers in his butthole? Absolutely. Yeah. Is it possible that he was flexing?
Yeah.
And yes, absolutely. Is it possible he was so depressed because he was on a manic, slam down that he was like, fuck it, I'm done. I just found out I have cancer. Yes, all the things are possible. I feel like there's nothing that you could be like, no, it's definitely not that.
And that's kind of the fuck of it with this guy. He had actually even said at one point that when one of his first jobs was working for the railroad, routing stuff, he had said that he regularly went to work on LSD. Which, I mean, I've done a ton of acid, and not a ton. I've done acid, I've done a ton of mushrooms. And, yeah, it's doable. If you do, like, enough of it, and it's your regular mode, that's totally doable.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he was more microdosing, not just, like, go off the fucking rails. Maybe he was, I don't know.
Well, especially because microdosing is so, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's so doable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I used to microdose on mushrooms all the time when I was younger. And so he had gotten his hands on some DMT, and he snorted. Now, okay, this is his story. I'll put my own interjections later.
Okay.
He said that he snorted a line of it and it didn't do anything, and so he snorted the whole bag. So, first of all, how big was the bag? Was it big? Was it small? Was it a hefty bag? Was it like a little, like, like a dime bag? What was this? What was this nebulous bag? Judging by how crazy he is, it was Felix's bag. So he said that he ended up, like, routing trains to the fucking moon. He ended up behind a dumpster naked, desperately hoping nobody looks at him, which I was just like, mood.
Yep.
If I had $1 for every time, man, oh my god, just sitting behind the Ross dumpster, eating Sbarro, hissing at everyone who comes near.
Yes, totally.
Gotta get back to my possum roots. So he said that he's not altogether sure that he won't just snap out of it and be behind that dumpster. So I kind of,
I get it.
I a little bit, like, that trip was what broke him, apparently. Like, his brains were kind of just regular, like, fucked up upbringing, and then he did a fuckload of DMT, and just, from that, he worked for NASA after, on the Apollo mission, from 1968 to 1970.
That's really scary.
He used maybe, and this is conjecture, maybe he used the information of when he was routing trains to the moon to fucking get a man on the moon.
Is it possible he was a janitor at NASA?
No.
Okay.
No, he was a big
he got it.
numbers
Oh,
cruncher.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I feel like maybe he could have been at NASA. It was like a janitor and just inflated his own title or something. But no.
No, I mean, yeah. It is possible.
But he didn't.
So he actually, he got, I believe, an honorary doctorate in mathematics later on, but it wasn't just an honorary doctorate of somebody who doesn't know fuck all about it. It was, he was in a doctorate program, and then he actually got expelled for sleeping with an undergrad who he later married, and they were together for about 12 years. That's the person who he had the Sky Gypsies thing with. That whole shtick, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. The yoga retreat, Colorado.
Oh, okay.
And then the Sky Gypsies was New Mexico, and then Belize, and yeah.
I can see where it would be hard to keep everything straight.
Fuck, it is.
And Colorado is kind of like New Mexico.
It is a
with
little
mountains instead of.
And very beautiful,
plateaus?
fit people. It's shocking.
I don't belong there.
Yes, nobody does. So, listening... Okay, so between this episode and the quantum physics episodes, like multiverse episodes and everything, I am so steeped in tinfoil hat. I had to wade through so many tinfoil hat podcasts and so many tinfoil hat articles because McAfee is a huge libertarian icon, I guess. And it's, well, okay, here's the thing though, is you can tell if it's an actual true opinion or... Well, okay, true opinion. An opinion based in fact that isn't under the spell of McAfee, or if it's just straight up McAfee in the voice of the person who's telling the stories. So I started to listen to one just to see what the other side was saying about it, and it was talking about when he was running as a candidate. And this guy skipped well over all of the, like, oh no, he did that. And tried to make it solely about the government was bullying John McAfee over tax evasion. And it was like, no. Oh no, there's so much more. Like, I wanted so much to just call this guy and be like, no, there's more. There is so much more. And I have so much proof and evidence.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
The hard part is they're not necessarily interested in real evidence.
No, because that, well, and that goes back into the whole terrors of useful idiots, which a lot of the McAfee and Trump supporters was useful idiots who just spread misinformation and conspiracy theories. I try really hard to not do that. But, yeah, it just, he preyed upon useful idiots frequently.
As most narcissists will.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you
that's
know,
true.
I think that is the perfect place to say goodbye forever to John McAfee.
Yeah, goodbye 2021
Yeah.
and goodbye John McAfee.
He is of the past.
I feel like at the end of like The Exorcist or something, or like the end of any like horror movie where somebody is possessed by a spirit, where like they open the doors and they're like, it is clean now.
Yeah, the spirit is gone.
I don't ever have to think about John McAfee again.
Never.
But god damn it.
Because you know what? There are better antivirus softwares out there now than there were back then. So yeah.
I just
there.
raw dog life.
Oh God, you go in no soft.
I don't even have a VPN.
Oh my God.
I live on the edge. My credit's shot. I don't fucking care anymore.
I know, right? Well, you know, it's been real weird and it's been real rough, but we are glad to say goodbye to John McAfee.
Thank God. Fuck that guy.
On our next episode, where I'll be talking about Caravaggio, we're going to still have some weird stuff. It's going to be in a different period of history, so hopefully it'll be a little different. Same toxic masculinity, different period.
I love it.
So follow us on all the things as always, and we're going to have some new stuff up on YouTube coming up in the next month. We have stickers. If you want to join our Patreon or buy some stickers, you should do that because we've got things. And yeah, until next time.